In the last year alone, Jack Nicklaus has chosen to honour Allan Robertson at the memorial tournament. There has been a book about his life and also a plaque placed here in St Andrews on his house by the 18th green. So who is the real Allan Robertson? Allan Robertson was born in 1815. He came from a golfing family. His grandfather Peter was professional and his father Davy was a champion golfer of Scotland. At the age of 7, Allan's father Davy built the very first house on the links and ran a golf shop where he sold feathery balls, hickory clubs and ginger beer. The Robertsons had been making feathery balls from as far back as 1595. And they were entrepreneurs. Records show Davy exporting clubs to India in the 1820s. Davy, and Allan for that matter, are often referred to as caddies. But caddies stood outside the Robertsons' business, hoping for a golfer to caddy for. Davy lost the champion golfer title in 1835 to Tom Alexander from Musselburgh and died before he had the chance to win it back, leaving a 21-year-old Allan to look after the business and the welfare of his younger brother David and his mother. It was in 1839 that Allan employed 18-year-old Tom Morris to help him in the shop. Together they made feathery balls, but it was on the links where they truly shone. Records show that they were never beaten. Quite remarkable. Tom in interviews in later life referred to Allan as my friend Allan. I do believe that they were as close as brothers. In 1840, Allan avenged his father's defeat by beating Tom Alexander of Musselburgh to become the champion golfer. And it was a title he would hold for not 1 or 2 years, but 19 years. He was that good. In fact, if you think about it, along with his father, Davy, over a 29-year era, they held the title for 24 years. Incredible golfing family. Allan's fame was such that photographs of him wearing his famous little red jacket that he wore in matches were hung on walls in clubs and golfers' houses like Tom Morris's house. His golf balls were simply stamped Allan, as everyone knew who that meant. He was golf's first superstar. Allan was said to have been the best, not because he was the longest hitter, but because he was the most scientific. According to historians at the time, he invented the lofted iron, the wedge if you will, in 1848. So instead of rolling the ball onto the green, Allan took the high route into the hole. Allan, he was simply in a different class. A Jack or a Tiger or a Rory, if you will. He was playing the golf of his life in 1858, which makes what happened next so really sad. He became the first to break 80 on the links shooting a 79, but the following year he got jaundice and died, aged only 43. It was a huge shock to the golfing world with a funeral cortege the length of South Street. When Allan passed away, people wondered who the new champion golfer would be. And to answer this, Presswick created the Open. The champion golfer title goes right back to Allan, his father Davy, Tom Alexander, and probably beyond. With Allan gone, people looked to Tom Morris, who in time became the grand old man of golf, and for good reasons. But let's not forget Allan. Allan Robertson was worshipped for his maverick golfing. He was the champion golfer for 19 years. He created golf courses, he was a golf businessman, and he created the wedge, the modern wedge. That's Allan Robertson. He truly was the king of clubs. But how good was his 79? You know, it really is. You know, you think these balls are going 200 yards. He did do it with a gutty ball. But one thing I really loved was finding people at the time who were writing about this. So instead of just being somebody 100 years later writing about Allan. This is somebody writing a story about, I looked out this morning and the weather was terrible and we went back to sleep, but then my brother woke me up to say he thinks he can see the sun, so let's go. Tom Hasty Peter, he's called, and he came here in 1837 to go to Madras. So he's here through absolutely everything, you know, which is brilliant. And he said the 4 best golfers is Allan Robertson, by far, he said, the most scientific, you know, would study a green, contours like no one else. Couldn't hit the ball as far as anyone, but just was meticulous. And then was Willie Dunn from Musselburgh, and then after that Willie Park, and then Tom Morris, and he put them in that order. And I'm just so happy it's Jack Nicklaus of all people honouring Allan. Yeah, that's truly special.